Let's stay in Cape Town, though, and tell you that the city is pressing ahead with a major land auction that is scheduled for the 26th of February 2026, involving more than 50 properties, including the historically significant Good Hope Centre precinct. But Khoi and San community representatives who claim these sites as ancestral and heritage-sensitive land have taken the city to court in another bid to halt the process. Khoi and San leaders argue their rights as the first peoples of this land are being ignored, while the city maintains it must release land to meet urgent housing and service delivery needs. Let's unpack all of this, the latest legal challenge ahead of the Tuesday, the 24th court hearing. And I'm joined now by Larry Varrie, who is National Commissioner of the Greater Aboriginal Community Council of Southern Africa. Good afternoon. Thank you for your time. So what is wrong and what do you find to be contentious about this plan by the city of Cape Town to release and auction 50 properties or so?
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. I think the main problem that we have here is that the city of Cape Town is not following the rules of the municipality. There are laws and we expect the laws to be followed when disposing of any property, and we are of the opinion, based on the evidence that we have, that the city has not consulted the community, the broad community of Cape Town, the city of Cape Town. They've not consulted the Aboriginal people with regards to the ancestral link or the heritage link to the lands. And there are properties that have been previously earmarked for land that is being sold off for commercial use. So while the city is actually on a backlog of 400,000 people that are on the waiting list, I mean, that is unacceptable.
So tell me about the historical and heritage significance of some of these sites, particularly the Good Hope Centre precinct.
Yeah, as you would know, based on all the evidence, and I think most of it is general knowledge, is the fact that Cape Town as a whole is firstly, how people still live there. And if you look at the Castle of Good Hope, the Good Hope Centre, all of these things, even in the names that they are mentioning, has to be very obvious for all the viewers. There's a strong link with the First Nation people in terms of what happened when Jan van Riebeeck came here in 1652. So then there's communities, there's land in Mitchell's Plain, in Wynberg, that is also being sold off, where there are people. I mean, it's a very dense population in those areas, and yet these properties are sold off for commercial use. Now, I know your question is linked on heritage, but I do want to say, I've linked the heritage aspect to this, in which we can go into detail. But part of the bigger issues on this matter, and why we're going to court, is, you see, the mayor of Cape Town, Jordan Hill, mentions that this is for, the empowerment. It's an economic move, an economic growth move. But yet, when councillors of the very city of Cape Town have tabled motions of exigency, asking the mayor to prove where the money is going to, that they're auctioning all of these lands, they are either refusing to answer the question, or they don't have an answer at all for it. So nobody in the city of Cape Town, including the mayor and the city manager, can prove where these proceeds, that they're actually addressing substantively the housing issue, which is a big crisis in the Western Cape. Now, another point is that Cape Town, or the Western Cape, holds the highest homelessness rate in the entire country. So while you have this big issue of land, these prime areas, including what I've mentioned, the Upper Canterbury urban that was also put up for auction, was in 2017 earmarked for land. They've never de-indexed that property and explained why it has been removed from, having been earmarked for housing, and now it's been auctioned off for commercial use. So, that is very important.
Does it matter that the city is seeking to justify this? And I'll quote here from James Foss, who is the member of the mayoral committee responsible for economic growth, who says that, and I quote, by releasing this site, Good Hope Centre precinct, that area, by releasing this site for revitalization revitalization and redevelopment, we are giving the private sector the opportunity to develop a vibrant mixed-use precinct. And then he talks about heritage sites, heritage elements, including the dome, to be preserved. But while all of that is happening, the surrounding land can be transformed into multiple uses, unlocking significant economic and spatial value for the inner city. Does that matter at all? Does it address any of the contemporary issues that the city of Cape Town grapples with?
Absolutely not. Look, they are capitalists. The DA in the Western Cape is a white supremacist political party that is governing the city of Cape Town. What is important to note is that they are focusing on the dome. The entire region and area around this very property that we are referring to has clear ancestral heritage. In fact, in the very reports of the city, they have indicated that it holds significant heritage value. Yet, they haven't consulted the very people to whom they claim that heritage belongs. So they are deciding by themselves that, the dome is what is important, and the rest of this property is not regarded as what should be preserved, or consulting with the people and establishing what exactly about this land does the people want to maintain if this land is going to be auctioned off. But the main problem is the fact that, the city is not following the law. Our case in court is about the rule of law, upholding the rule of law. And if the city is left to set a precedent where they can bypass the rule of law, then, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, there won't be any land left in the Western Cape. And another important point is the city doesn't even have any policy that deals with public participation. This is the city of Cape Town. So there is a vacuum of all of these fundamental constitutional principles that the city is not adhering to. And the main thing we are dealing with here is the fact that the city must follow the rules. There must be a bylaw that deals with public participation, and not just, off the cuff decide how they're going to engage with the people of Cape Town.
Yeah.
And they must consult the broader people of the Western Cape.
So I think from the preceding interventions, from what you've just said in the last few minutes, we've got a clear sense of what your grievances are and what you think the city has not done. But perhaps just for the benefit of everyone watching, state then for us what it is that you are asking the Western Cape Division of the High Court to do when you go to court on Tuesday.
We are asking the court to hold the city to the rule of law, the laws that are established, the constitution, legislation that deals with, how property must be disposed, what rules must be followed, who must be consulted. And once those things are followed, our grievance here is the fact that the rules of the city are not followed. They are not, the Municipal Finance Management Act is not being, there's no information statements pertaining to that. So the main point, like I said, is there are rules that must deal with how any property is disposed of, which the city is not following. And we are holding the municipality to those very rules and asking the court to uphold the rule of law.
All right, I've got to thank you for your time this afternoon. That's Larry Varrie, who is National Commissioner of the Greater Aboriginal Community Council of Southern Africa. It will be an interesting case to watch when it goes to the High Court Division in the Western Cape on Tuesday.